Hello, Internet. We're coming to you from the Ag Department up here at Casper College. This is Todd Jones, your instructor for the Farm and Ranch Management class. This is one of the more favorite classes that I get to teach, and so I hope you're enjoying it up to this point. We haven't done a whole lot, but hang on. I don't think we're going to be hitting it too hard, but this particular broadcast is going to deal with mission statements and how they affect your business, how they affect your personal life, and how to write one possibly, and all those kinds of things. So it's pretty exciting stuff. It's something that those of us in agriculture typically don't do. Now, you might be the exception, and I hope you are, or else we're going to make you the exception, which is pretty exciting news. But anyway, a mission statement just is going to tell why we are. So it's really important to have those things written down. A mission statement is one of the reasons that businesses go out of business. It's one of the major reasons. And I just want to make that very, very clear. A business can get, and you know, those of you that are farming, ranching, and in ag business of some kind are definitely in a business. If you don't have a vision, any road will get you there. One of my favorite sayings. So you can get so broad, so general, it can become mind-boggling, and all of a sudden you turn around after several years of your customer asking for different things in the form of products and services and how you perform, and it doesn't even look like where you started from. So as soon as you can, I mean, if you've been in business for years, it's not too late to actually sit down and write out your mission statement. If you've got people around you that are decision makers within your organization, then they all should have a hand and some ownership in this type of a statement. But anyway, as we mentioned before, a mission statement typically simply says why we're in business. Okay, we all need a business and a personal statement, because when there's no vision, then people perish, businesses perish. A mission statement takes a vision and puts it into writing as a target. It can lead you. It can be your path to success. And it can have you avoid wasted time. It can focus you. It's so, so important. And many people overlook this step. If you put together a regular business plan, that's one of the necessary ingredients right in the beginning. It shouldn't be the part of it that you just write and then you forget. It should be visited. It should be memorized, and then implemented, of course. Or why would we do it in the first place? Well, why is a mission statement important? We did kind of, provide the framework for that sort of thing, but just let me try to clarify that a little bit more. It's so important because, for one, it provides boundaries for you. A few minutes ago, I mentioned that some businesses can get so broad, so general, they want to provide everything to everybody. That's a recipe for disaster, if you ever heard of it. And it's easy to fall into that trap. But with a properly constructed mission statement, then we can stay within those parameters, we can stay within those boundaries, and we're way more focused. And we can't be all things to all people. The mission statement defines what the organization is not, okay? And that's a really important part about it. You can have a mission statement that is just as general as anything. You might say, well, we want to produce the best dang cattle in the whole country. Well, I mean, what kind of cattle? Uh, um, there may be some really typical, you might have certain traits that you're going to provide in your cattle. You know, just saying that you want to have the greatest cows and provide those to your customer may not actually define what your mission is, or it may be way too general. Okay, focusing. In other words, mission statement identifies a reason for existence. And that's one of the things I like to have people start out with, if you've never written one, is to start it with two. That would be a very good starting. It may change over time, and we'll talk about how much you should change these things and things like that later. But that's a really good place to start if you don't know where to start. It doesn't have to start that way, but a really good way to do that is. The next thing we want to cover is, what are the 3 things a mission statement must have to be legitimate? Okay, it should state what your skills and abilities, at least refer to those things. Personalities and passions within your organization. And that might be simply farming, ranching, and maybe a little more specific than that, but it certainly should define yourselves, those kinds of things. So, and then values, dreams, and passions again. Values and dreams. Things like integrity, doing the best for your customers, providing sound and quality products. Those are fairly general, and you in your own industry, in your own little niche business, probably have a better idea what those things are in order to focus and give us the boundaries we talked about earlier. But those are the 3 things that we need to visit about, or what the mission statement should be about. And it answers the question, why? Why do we exist? And the next question I want to actually answer, I don't really want to answer it for you, but I can answer it for myself, of course, is, are you living someone else's life? And this goes right back to the mission statement, if you have a mission statement specifically. Are you living someone else's life? Many times we find that people follow others, and there's nothing wrong with that. Particularly, I really enjoy watching other people succeed and trying to emulate that success, especially when I can transfer that kind of knowledge into the business that we're building. And it's more efficient for your time. You don't, trial and error is a method of learning and getting better, but it takes time. When you can watch somebody else and be mentored by somebody else, then it's just a more efficient use of your time. But this is the one thing that we find when we interview people when they've been in business, and a lot of people in agriculture, is that sometimes they're living somebody else's dream. They were expected to fit the shoes of somebody else that came before them, and they were expected to take over the family ranch and those kinds of things. And if that's not your passion, then you might need to consider getting out of the way and letting somebody that is their passion do that and perform it. Because, I mean, there's nothing like running a business. I love running a business, but it takes a lot of energy, and it takes all the passion that you got in order to make it succeed. Now, there's very few people that just can make any business successful. Once you've formed several businesses and they've succeeded, and you've transferred them to somebody else, then that's not altogether true. But right from the get-go, you rarely see somebody that can take something that they're not really interested in and turn it into a success. Another thing I always tell people, and in this class especially, is that, you know, there's people that do get lucky. There's those, some people say that that's the person that gets the ranch transferred over to them just because it's a birthright to them. Typically, you know, they've had to earn that right to be the head of that organization, but that, at least what I've seen. But it takes, in order to become an overnight success, what I like to say, it usually takes about 20 years. So if you can incrementally build a business, it'll have a more solid foundation. And the very first brick you put in place is this mission statement. Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. This will be the first part of it, because I'm sure that you don't want to just listen to me go on and on about this kind of stuff. I am really passionate about it. If I know that some of you are taking this online, so if you want to call me up or email me, have specific questions on this particular topic or any other ones, I really enjoy visiting about it. We've had several businesses. Some of them have been successful, some of them not so successful. So the trial and error part of it that I mentioned before is a reality to me. But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed the photo. That's where our last business was. That's actually, if you recognize it, Cloud Peak with Blacktooth in the background. You can even see the gargoyle right beneath Blacktooth, and some of the country that we got to wander around in for the last 30 years. So again, I appreciate you listening to this podcast, and there'll be part 2 coming up in here in a little bit.